That's been really, really fucking crazy the past few days. Um, for one thing, I have I have crazy opportunities coming to me left, right, center. Another thing, I just somehow, like it's gone to the point where I only have so much time, and I only have so much energy. Right, my body's literally just like letting me down. And when I say letting me down, I mean I have expectations of it, but it's just like not keeping up with my expectations. And like another thing I'm realizing, and I'm pretty sure maybe you've also like come to realize this as well. Um, you don't have to work that hard because there are other people out there who work less but still get more done just by using leverage. They just have more leverage. Um, I didn't even understand this concept like way back. I remember when I was like starting out in automation. Um, I was so excited to just get my hands on work, just work all the time. Um, it's really not the same now. Now when I work, I get really fucking annoyed, and it's getting more and more like that. Actually, I've been training myself to do this, and you'll understand why in a few moments. Basically, it's just all about identity. Um, when you get stuck in this mentality of just being a worker all the time, you never actually grow out of it. Like a lot of people are okay with just living their life like that. I'm not, because I understand that at the end of the day, I don't see myself being that forever. I want to be not someone who's like constantly working, especially when it comes to like working for other people. I want to work on my own business, and that's how like the only time I feel somewhat free, like I feel like I have an infinite amount of energy, and like unfortunately I don't. But the only time I ever like feel like I have an infinite amount of energy is when I'm working on my own projects, when I'm actually like doing things that I have a genuine interest in, not building things for some company or some agency or whatever. When I'm doing things for myself, um, that's the only time that I actually care about things. That's the only time when I literally have like I somehow have these creative spurts where I just you know I can build something that I don't think anyone can conceive of because it's just so cool. But then again, that might just be me being a narcissist, being self-centered. Um, anyway, that's not the point, right? The point is that understanding that I gain the most amount of sort of enjoyment, fulfillment from doing my own stuff, and understanding that I want to optimize my life around gaining as much time and energy as possible. I need to put myself in situations where I get the most leverage, like I am in leverage positions all the time. And working, like being hands on all the time, is not one of those leverage positions. But unfortunately, it's where everyone starts. And I'm pretty sure that's where you started as well. That's where I started. That's where I still am currently, but I am slowly but surely moving out of it. Um, although reality, as always, it's a lagging indicator. So it'll take time for it to like get where I want to. But I feel like it's already there. Um, any sort of resistance I'm getting, I I'm basically reframing it. I get really annoyed when I have to work hard. I get really annoyed by the fact that I work all these hours. It's so fucking annoying to me. Um, and because I know that there are people out there who work less but still end up accomplishing more. There was a time where the funny thing about me, what you have to understand is that I I don't just like believe in hard work or whatever. There's also this philosophical aspect about it. Like I don't just believe in sort of applying yourself in life, right? Um, I also believe in like taking a step back and like going the spiritual path as well. I don't know if I've ever like spoken about the spiritual beliefs that I have about how I believe like the universe is somewhat of a simulation, about how everything is being rendered from this infinite possibility uh, field. I'm going to call it a field, but it's a field of infinite possibility that we could call pure consciousness, and everything just get rendered as like the most probable state at any moment. And those moments of rendering, um, they happen at the speed of information, and those are also the moments where consciousness is observing itself. Um, it's a really interesting concept that just came to me, like in the weirdest way possible. And I think the fact that it came to me made me really, really, it made me pay attention. Um, that there was probably more to this life than I understood, because otherwise this thing would never have stood out to me. And ever since then, I've been trying to implement these sort of pseudo spiritual ideas into the way I live life, trying to understand maybe if there was a different way to do things, right? To not just tackle work just to work. And I guess in my efforts, I guess another few ideas came to me as well, which was mixing the concept of Stoicism, which would give you sort of this mental resilience and this calmness about life, where you understand that things happen, and you understand that most of things don't really like you don't really have the ability to control them. So you should just let them be, and you should just act based on your own. So take the most rational action at all times. But you should also be this egoist that has a crazy amount of ambition, where literally anything could happen around you, but you don't care because you know exactly where you're going. And even if it sounds delusional, you still know. Actually, it should sound delusional because that's exactly the point. No one else can know where you want to go. No one else can know what you see. They probably have like different visions inside their heads as well, and they're probably also making them happen. The funny thing, the funny thing about life is that it never deviates from how we live. Like how we live is determines exactly the results that we'll get. Um, so my thesis is if you live intentionally, you get results that mimic or mirror your intentions. That's it. It's very simple when I say it like that. It really is. And when I look back at the past few months, I can't help but understand that this is true. I can't help but realize that, there's probably some truth to my words, because ever since I started living intentionally, my reality has just been shifting in my way of seeing things. Um, the universe kept rendering me this whole time. Consciousness kept rendering me into physical reality, into this simulation, and the probable state that I was in kept shifting from me being someone who didn't know what the hell they were going to do with their life to someone who knew exactly what to do, because he had this stoic calmness about him. He understood that as much as he could control a lot of things, there was a lot he couldn't control, so he should just let that be. Um, but to also have this egoist ambition inside him, where it's like he understands that life is his fault, and he's willing to go get it. He's willing to go get whatever the fuck he wants. And I've said this before, but the one thing I want is to master myself. As long as I master myself, then nothing should be impossible for me to accomplish, because that's what a mastered individual is. A mastered individual is someone who is capable of getting whatever the fuck they want. If I master myself to the extent where I think I can, and I think I will, as long as I keep taking consistent, intentional action, there's no way I won't accomplish any goal I set out for myself. Actually, I put goals in front of myself, no matter how impossible they seem. I put them in front of myself just to push myself forward, just to, like, it's better if they're impossible. It's better if I look at them and I'm like, how the fuck am I going to accomplish that? Because, like, at the end of the day, that opens my mind to all the possibilities. And I think that's so important, to just open your mind. you have to open your mind to the possibilities because the only limitations that exist in life are the ones you set upon yourself. There are no limitations. Uh, it's such a crazy thing to me. Um, like this one realization, I think, is like a really big shift that happened maybe 4 months. Like the fact that there are no real limitations, that it was just me, like my perception was closing things off for me. I could only see a certain reality for myself. Um, and then I started like, you know, intentionally watching certain videos, intentionally engaging with certain types of ideas, content, intentionally forcing myself to think in certain ways. Just by merely, literally, I guess, if I was an LLM, I was literally just prompting myself with useful information. Um, and literally just started changing. Um, and the nice thing is that I was in charge of the change. It wasn't like my environment was forcing me to take on this shape like environments normally do. I was the one who was like in charge. I was literally in the palm of my hands. And that's exactly where I want to be. I want to have the ability to say, okay, this version of myself is not good enough anymore for the type of person I need to become. So I have to break it down and then I have to reform myself into the most useful form I could be right now, according to the identity that I need to become, according to the identity that could accomplish my goals, basically. So the idea is to master myself, and then everything that comes from my mastery is just a natural consequence. Right? If I'm a master at automation, then I will obviously be rich because that would just be like the impact that I have. If I master my spirituality, then I will have an impact, and I will have like a ton of people who actually think that whatever I say is actually important. Like you understand, everything will just be a natural consequence of who I am. Um, this isn't like something. This isn't some crazy thinking. I'm seeing the type of person that I could be and that I should be, and I'm just being that person. And of course, I flounder, make mistakes here and there, because the universe is it has a way of testing you. But the tests are something I relish a lot because when things get hard, I just lock in and I don't let go. And that's something that's helped me in the past. And I think it's something that's going to help me going forward as well. So yeah, basically the idea is very simple. Um, my life right now is exceptionally difficult, but I'm enjoying it because I somehow love difficulty and somehow I have an infinite amount of energy when it comes to facing difficulty. This is something I had to teach myself. I literally had to ingrain in myself. And I don't know if this will ever change. Maybe I don't want it to change because maybe I'll just keep putting myself in situations that are difficult just to keep growing. Actually, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Because I want to grow as quickly as possible. So I'll just keep, artificial discomfort, useful artificial discomfort. Um, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I won't stop because through discomfort, I master myself. And through mastery, I have an impact. And through the impact, I will be bigger, better, stronger. I'll be able to help the people I care about. And I'll be able to help myself. So, thank you for watching. And I'll see you when I see you.